Hello friends, we have a new topic today, new historicism, and just below that I have written, as you can see, a tale of two universities. What is new historicism? It is a literary theory, say like new criticism, formalism, structuralism, post-structuralism and so on. That's a theory, an approach to study literature, literary text, how to analyze the literary text and find out its meaning. So that is from Aristotle onwards, from Aristotle's days onwards, even before that, Plato's days onwards, we have been wrestling with the meaning of the text now. It's a kind of wrestle, and it continues even now, and that is the charm of the literary theory, charm of literary theory. Now, historicism here means not the old historicism of linear placing of facts or collection of facts or stories of great emperors and empires, stories of great wars, First World War, Second World War, or how the British came and established here, the story of Clive, the Battle of Plassey and all those things. Not that. But how history means economics, politics, culture, religious attitudes, how these social milieu, we can say, the cultural milieu, how these things influence the creation or production of a text. So that means it is diametrically opposite to the ideas given to us by the new critics, because the new critics say that their attitude is that the text is autotelic, the text is autonomous. So Allen Tate, J.C. Ransom, I.A. Richards and so on, they were all for that and rejected intentional fallacy, rejected intention of the author, rejected the how the work has been affected by the influence of the work on the reader and so on. That is affective fallacy. We have seen, I have already given a number of lectures on that. Okay, so that is by way of introduction. Now coming back to this point, now I hope you understand what is new historicism means. Means giving importance to the background of the text. That is, can be biography of the author, can be history of the period, it can be influences, cultural, it can be economic influences, it can be, say, the government, the influence, political influences, all these things included. How the text originated in such a milieu. That's the point in new historicism, and how the text reflect the moment of its production, and also how the text influenced the moment of the production. So both ways, it's a give and take. As Stephen J. Greenblatt, so that's his full name, as he says, that is exchange, negotiation and exchange, that's the point. Negotiation and exchange, it's a keyword. Negotiation and exchange. Negotiation and exchange. That means it is a give and take process. Negotiation and exchange. That is how text, how the social situation, historical situation helped to produce the text, or how the culture, social life, political life, then religious life, and other theories and ideologies, how they help to produce a text. That's what. And how the text itself influenced the history of those days, or culture of those days, politics of those days, whether it was supporting or subverting. So that's what is meant by saying negotiation and exchange. That means give and take. Give and take situation. A dialogic situation. Dialogic situation. Dialogic. Understand? I hope you understand these words, negotiation and exchange and so on. Now coming back, that's by way of introduction, just I told you what this new historicism is. New historicism is a literary theory, okay, for the time being. And it gives importance to the background of the literature. And therefore we say it is diametrically opposite. The new criticism, the new political methods. For the time being we understand that much. And then we come to a tale of two cities, two universities. Two universities means one is the University of California. The University of California, that is America. Actually, the new criticism is an American product, and it remains so also. But parallel to this, simultaneously, we can say, in the University of London, that's why I heard a tale of two universities. University of London, a movement was going on, almost the same. That of course, and here it is, University of California, it was Professor Stephen J. Greenblatt. Greenblatt. Stephen J. Greenblatt. But when you say no, his name is better known as Stephen Greenblatt. I mean, the full name very rarely we use. Same documents and so on we will find. That's all. Otherwise, Stephen Greenblatt, and he was the pioneer. He was a professor in the University of California, Berkeley, and simultaneously, that's what I said, simultaneously, almost the same thing. A parallel movement was going on at the University of London, where he found, you probably are aware of, familiar with his name, Jonathan Dolimo. Jonathan Dolimo and Alan Seinfeld. Cultural materialism. Means same thing, but difference, a slight difference is that Dolimo and Seinfeld, their focus was more on ideology. But it is broad-based. What new historicism propounded by the theory propounded by Greenblatt is broad-based, including everything, anecdotes, notices even, advertisements, then but people, superstitions, everything included. When Greenblatt thought about the background from which the text originated, he had in mind all these things. So it's all inclusive. But in cultural materialism, almost the same thing as I told you, like that of the background study of literature. So here what happens is, this is more ideology and left-oriented. Cultural materialism. And you probably when I come across cultural materialism in Shakespeare's place. Shakespeare and cultural materialism. That's a Renaissance study. Another interesting thing is this one thing. That is, the approach is almost the same. But it originated in two universities, one in England, one in America. But at the same time, we must understand that the dominance is given to the American product rather than the British product. Because the American products remains even now. British product also, but more prominent in that sense we can say. Understand? A dominance they have got. It's an American product, it remains an American product, and probably it will continue to remain as an American product. See that? So that is about Greenblatt and the University of California, and cultural materialism of Jonathan Dolimo and Alan Seinfeld. That's why I said one reason why it's a tale of two universities. Understand? Now the second reason why it is a tale of two universities is that here in California, both gave in the sense that simultaneously, so the parallel development against parallel, and both originated from an academic situation. That's another reason I say that there is tale of two universities. Understand? And the third reason why I say it is a tale of two universities, one, Greenblatt was a professor, and at the time when the cultural materialism was being developed, Dollimore was a student of the University of London. So academia, so to say, we can say, the whole thing comes from the background of academics rather than from, say, directly from economics or ideologies or ideologies. For example, Louis Althusser, we can say it's more of ideology. Ideology based, his approaches are ideology based. And when you come to Foucault, that is Michel Foucault, his concentration is on power. He speaks about power, capillaries of power, how power dictates everything. But in this case, it's not like that. It is about the whole thing, that is the entire situation, so to say. Although Foucault also had his say in this development of new historicism, as we will see later. Understand? So the reason why I call this a tale of two universities mainly is this. This is originated in universities, in the university circles. That's why. Alright. Then next point note about this is, first point is already over. That is, it is a tale of two universities. Then second point to remember is that it is a reaction and a rejection of new criticism. So reaction against, second is a reaction against and a rejection of, and a rejection of the new criticism. New criticism and also formalism plus, because there is also parallel, no? Formalism. Formalism of Norman Jacobson. Then we saw that Shklovsky, defamiliarization and all those we have done already. I have given about half a dozen lectures on that. You can go through that if you have got time. So it was a reaction against and a rejection of the new criticism or new critical method. Why do we say like that? Because the new critics, they summarily dismissed all the influences, summarily dismissed all the background, summarily dismissed others' intention, summarily dismissed even the how a work of art affected the reader. Everything. Theirs, for you can say, their attitude, we can say, narcissistic, self-love. They said ours, the text is the be-all and the end-all of everything. Nothing more. We don't want anything else. Total isolation, you can say. Isolation and insulation. Texts are isolated from the background and insulated from influences from outside. Understand that? So since it is rejected these things, along with this, many other things also, the new historicism rejected, such as, when we say now, timelessness of literature, timelessness of literary text, universal values of literary text. Why? Because everything has got equal value, and it does have as big value as that of a text, literary text. It has got that much, it is equal, so to say. Just as Raymond Williams said, culture is ordinary, so literary texts are ordinary. Democratization of literature and literary texts. That's another, we can say, effect of this reaction against and rejection of new criticism. There is nothing to isolate, to be isolated, nothing to be insulated. Understand? No need to isolate, no need to insulate anything. Everything is same. It is like a flooded field where you find nothing, everything equalization. You can't see the top of trees or even buildings when there is a flood, isn't it? Small, everything is equal, we can say. So in the same way, we can see when they rejected and reacted against the narcissistic tendencies of new criticism and rejected the claims of the new criticism. Along with that, they rejected the so-called canonical aspects of text. Then the special grade or value given to literary text said everything is same, nothing like timelessness, nothing like Shakespeare's plays are timeless, nothing, because Shakespeare at the time there were many other things also which are timeless, they would say. So that is their attitude. Understand that? So rejecting this, that's a very important point to note. The way they approached literary text. New historicists approached the literary text in such a way that they did not make any distinction between the so-called high literature and low literature, or gossip, or superstition, or any such thing. Everything they have said, they have the same value. They gave same value to or any, even a notice, as I told you, or an advertisement, they would say it's all the same. You know, the equal value they give. This is a very important point to note. Alright. And another very important point, again we can see, that is, when the new critics, they said, literature has nothing to do with background study or intention of the author or historical circumstances and so on. Remember one thing, the new historicists said, how can we study or understand or appreciate the prologue to Canterbury Tales, which is a portrait gallery, as we have seen. It gives you the social life, a cross section of the a vivid narration of the social life of those days. Without going into or studying the social life of those days, how can you enjoy that portrait gallery one after another, the night, then you have got a number of them. This is the monk, the friar, then the nun, all the nuns, priests, we have already learned that. So these things, how can you enjoy? How can you understand these things? So that's very important to know the social background. Or let us say take the classic modern poem, The Wasteland. Now, if you know more of the biography of the author, T.S. Eliot, also the background, that is the shattering, the line says, you only know a heap of broken images. So directly it is a reference to the World War and its consequences, isn't it? Or lines like this, I see crowd of people walking, I see crowd of people. Right? If a crowd flowed over London Bridge, that is such lines, how can you, that is, so many I had not thought, death had undone so many. So these lines, how can you understand without the background, without knowing the background of the social background, the political background, the ideologies of those days? Without that, how can you understand and how can you enjoy that? It's not possible. Sometimes you may say that Hopkins' poem, The Window, you may be able to enjoy this. But even then you require some knowledge about the author, Hopkins, because it was at a time of critical moments in his life, he gave birth to that poem, The Window. So without that, how can you say like that? That is what the new historicists say. To appreciate a work of art, to analyze a work of art, to study a work of art, you must have a thorough knowledge of the cultural, the political, the economic, and also the ideologies of the days from which, or the background from which a text originated. Minimum, the knowledge of the person and his background. Because I Jesuit priest, remember, as I just now told you, if you compare the social life of Middle Ages that is portrayed in the works of in Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. Okay, you need to do it. But sometimes you may say that in that case, however, there is no social life, nothing of the sort. Who said there is no social life? Because first of all, we should understand the crisis in which Hopkins was when he wrote this. And secondly, another point, very important point to remember is that he was preparing to get ordained as a Jesuit priest. These are influences. So nobody can say that, nobody can isolate a text completely. And as I said, insulate it from other influences. So what is a kind of, as somebody has said, it is a kind of epistemological peace when we approach new criticism. After that violence and commotion of structuralism, post-structuralism, new criticism, formalism and all that. See, you have lost something. You are like, you are you are in a sea, so to say, without the help of a lifeboat. See, when you consider these new theories. And finally, this is not my opinion. This I read somewhere, I forgot the author, but this is a fact. I think you will also agree, this new approach to literary studies, it gives a kind of epistemological peace. So we feel that there is some sense in what these people are saying, that is Greenblatt and also Doleman. Understand? So that's the second point now. Reaction against and rejection of the new criticism and formalism, structuralism, but post-structuralism we cannot say, because these people are influenced by post-structuralist ideas of identity crisis. Multiple identity, hybrid identity. That's a concept that we see in post-structuralism. Because post-structuralists, that is Derridian post-structuralism, what we find is that we call deconstruction. We find that the meaning is eternally elusive and fluid. So therefore we can't reach anywhere. Only at the end of our reading a text, we reach what we call aporia. Life is like a pathless wood. Understand? It is like that. The text is like a pathless wood. It is opening new gates for you. One reading, second reading, third reading, fourth reading, things like it goes on like that. You see? So some of those ideas, and that I just now told you about Michel Foucault's power, capillaries of power, and Louis Althusser's ideology. These things have come into this new historicism, and therefore we cannot say that post-structuralists did not, or deconstructionists did not influence new criticism. You will find the influence of this post-structuralism in this. Now, at that point, notice how this new idea, so this new literary theory was propounded by Greenblatt. Greenblatt, actually, he was interested in studying Renaissance texts, 16th century. That is texts of, say, Thomas More, and then you have got William Tyndale. Tyndale, you know, that great translator of the Bible, Wyatt, the poet, then Spencer, author of the Fairy Queen, Marlowe, that harbinger of Renaissance drama, you can say Marlowe, Christopher Marlowe, and Shakespeare. And the study is titled like this: Renaissance self-fashioning from Moore to Shakespeare. Renaissance self-fashioning from Moore to Shakespeare. So this is a path-breaking study of the Renaissance texts, 16th century literature, done by Stephen Greenblatt. And from there he got this idea that this approach to the study of how social life, how ideologies of the days when how ideologies of the days or the times of the production of the text influenced the text itself. And the text tried to shape the ideologies of the time. So that is, we have already seen that phrase, that is negotiation and exchange. Stephen Greenblatt, see what happens is that he found that questions of identity, who you are. Question of identity means who am I? You ask now, at the age of, say, by the age of 20 or 25, you will ask, who am I? What is my role? So the questions of identity influence literature of early 16th century. The 16th century, not only early 16th century, that is Renaissance. Questions of identity, that's the thing. Life and literature influence life and literature of those days, that is 16th century, influenced by the questions of identity. Who am I? That is it. Text reflects influences and text shapes ideologies or culture. Text reflect, that's the exchange. See, that is text, he found it is questions of identity. Questions of identity. So that is self-fashioning. No? Self-fashioning means, who am I? Asking this question. So from his study of the 16th century or Renaissance texts of the Renaissance period, as we have seen from Moore to Shakespeare, he found that this question influenced life and literature of those days. So then it was like a spark. Then he thought, not only this period, but it must have influenced all the texts in all periods of their production. That's the thing. So, and immediately you will find the Tempest, for example. If you take the Tempest, Shakespeare's Tempest, written in 1611, the background is what? Tempest is the imperialist rape of the third world, it is said. The Tempest is the imperialist rape of the third world. That you can see power struggle there, Caliban and Prosper. Isn't it? You find the shipwrecked Europeans, how they subjugate and conquer, you can say, see, mercilessly the natives of that island, that is Caliban and his mother. So that is power struggle. So power struggle, that's what you find in the Tempest. Then when you read Taming of the Shrew, what happens? You find that is an attempt to construct an identity of, construct the attitude towards love and marriage. Taming of the Shrew. This love and marriage. See, so that means what? That means background, culture, ideologies, political as well as religious, social life, etc. have tremendous influence in the making of a text, in the production of a text. Understand? So from there what you get, the most famous saying of Louis Montrose, another theorist of this group, Louis Montrose, that is textuality of history and historicity of the text, which we will discuss tomorrow. Understand? So I think we are coming to these 3 points. One, it is a tale of two cities because almost at the same time as Greenblatt as putting forward this theory of new historicism in University of California, the University of London, another group of people led by Jonathan Rollimore and Alan Seinfeld, they were working on cultural materialism. Both the same, except that cultural materialism has more of ideology and it is leftist, there is leftist leaning in that. And then what new historicism, I think by now you must have understood, that is background influence. Influence of the background on the production of the text. influence the period, tendencies of the period, ideologies of the period, social life of the period. These things, the influence of these in the production of the text. That's the moment of creation and the moment of the life of the people of that period. They coalesce and they merge in the text. That's the thing. A text receives and a text gives. A text reflects and a text creates. Understand? That is what he says about negotiation and exchange. And then second one we said it was a reaction against new criticism and followism and so on. Along with that, they also, there's nothing democratized, there's no text. Nothing like universal value of literary canon and things like that. Everything is the same. Any word uttered, any word written is as great as the so-called great literatures. In this I told you, you find a parallel in Richard Hogarth and E.P. Thompson and Raymond Williams, their idea of democratization of culture. So here is democratization of literary text. And at third point we have seen the whole thing began, say, in 1980. This was published in 1980. See, Renaissance self-fashioning from Thomas More to Shakespeare, there he found, in his study he discovered, we can say. So he was making an excavation of the Renaissance, and then he discovered that the questions of self-fashioning or self-identity influenced the literature and the life of those days. From there he understood, from there he concluded that there must have been such influences elsewhere, not only in the Renaissance period, in other periods also. And from there we have got the other concept of textuality of history and historicity of the text by Louis Monros. I will write down his name also, Louis Monros. And what does that mean, etc.? We will see tomorrow. Till then, bye, have a nice time. Hope that you are following. Just 3 points. 1, tale of two universities. 2, that is reaction and rejection. And 3, reason or Renaissance self-fashioning. From there he understood there must be tremendous influence. The background exerts tremendous influence on the production of a literary text.